Hey gang, welcome to Found Flicks. You know what's the worst? Waiting until Halloween for season 2 of Stranger Things. And after the Super Bowl teaser gave us our first glimpse at the new season, waiting has been absolute torture. So while we have some time to go, I wanted to look back at some of the big mysteries left in season 1 and theorize where things might go in season 2. This time I'll be delving into the Upside Down. Now if you're new to the channel, thanks so much for stopping by. I've made several videos on Stranger Things and we'll be referencing some previous theories in this video, especially the theory of electricity courtesy of my pal David Thorne. So if you haven't checked that out, it will help develop some elements of this video in more detail. Recently, the show's composers, the band Survive, mentioned that we'd be seeing a lot more of the Upside Down next season. And that started to get me thinking about just how important the Upside Down will be in season 2. We do learn plenty about it in the first season that will no doubt pave the way for what comes next. So let's start by breaking down everything we know so far. What is the Upside Down? There's still much shrouded in mystery about it after season 1, but no, we can consider it an alternate mirror reality to our own. As far as its origins or how long it's been around, we have no idea of when it came into existence. Our first introduction of the Upside Down doesn't occur until November of 1983. Telekinetic Subject 11, while in a state of sensory deprivation, encounters a monster, the Demogorgon, in a black mental space connecting our two realms. And on head scientist Brenner's request, 11 makes physical contact with the creature. As they telekinetically touch, a crack appears in the wall of the Hawkins research facility, tearing open a gateway between our two realms. Over time, the gateway continues to grow in size, with strange twisted plants and webbing reaching further into the lab and our reality. The main basis of our knowledge of the Upside Down and the term itself are coined by the kids during a game of Dungeons and Dragons. When considering where their friend Will has disappeared to, 11 flips the game board, placing the tokens on the reverse side of the board. She is illustrating that Will is trapped in an alternate realm, a reverse of our own, hidden from view but deeply connected. Dustin digs deeper into the D&D analogy, equating the Upside Down to the Veil of Shadows from the game, a dimension that is a dark reflection or echo of our world. It is a place of decay and death, a plane out of phase, a place of monsters. It is right next to you and you do not even see it. The grander idea of what the Upside Down could be in relation to our universe is explored in a scene where the kids seek advice from their science teacher, Mr. Clark. He references Hugh Everett's many worlds theory, which would classify the Upside Down as a parallel universe, and that it is just like our world but with infinite possibilities. So it's entirely plausible, and I also believe there are actually infinite other parallel universes. We've just only seen the Upside Down so far. This parallel universe concept is further strengthened in this video theory from Nerdist, where this guy considers each parallel reality as a ruffle on the quantum fabric, and through entanglement they become linked, which would cause things in one universe to directly affect the other. This entanglement between our universes is the gate itself, as this is the stemming point of the rip between our two alternate universes. And we see that when Joyce and Hopper later enter the Upside Down, that the kids' initial theory of the parallel universe is essentially accurate. The Upside Down looks just like their hometown of Hopkins, Indiana, but much darker and desolate. There are overgrown biological tendrils and webs covering everything, as well as spores raining from the sky. It also appears that while breathable, the atmosphere is toxic to humans. Will is the one who stayed over there the longest, and we see him physically affected by his extended stay. Of course, he also had that tendril down his mouth. That's got to have some kind of impact. Meanwhile, Hopper takes his mask off temporarily and seems to have no ill effects by breathing the air momentarily. The Upside Down in our own realm are connected directly in many ways beyond their similar appearance. Sound can travel from Hawkins to the Upside Down, but not the other way around. We see that Will is able to hear Joyce's voice in the Upside Down, and later when in the alternate version of her house, Joyce hears Jonathan's voice. The exception to this is when there is an interdimensional portal nearby. We see this when Nancy travels through a portal, and this time she and Jonathan are both able to communicate back and forth between realms. The other slight exception is Will's ability to reach our realm via electronic devices, first over the phone and then through the radio. And then we have light itself. We see that lights in our universe are affected by others' movements in the Upside Down. And it also appears that when the monster is nearby, it causes lights to flicker. We also see Will able to communicate via electricity or energy, as in the Christmas lights run message village and the tons of lamps Joyce sets up around the house. While there are the aforementioned strange plant-like growths everywhere, there appears to be no other life in the Upside Down whatsoever. Though there are a few creatures we see, namely of course the Demogorgon. And if you're wondering about the potential of other monsters, apparently the Demogorgon we saw is the only monster in the entire Upside Down at the time of season 1. Well, there was also the slug scene coming out of Barb's mouth and later at home out of Will's, but these appear to be much lower evolved species than the Demogorgon. Maybe it will be able to survive in our universe and evolve into a monster. But at this point, the slugs aren't a real threat, and the Demogorgon is technically the only monster in the Upside Down. Me believing it is the only monster is based on quotes from the Duffer Brothers themselves, where they mention a 30-page document they wrote containing all of the Upside Down secrets, including why there was only one monster there. We do of course see a new monster in the Super Bowl teaser, but I think there's a reason for that, which I will explore later, that still fits in with the monster being the only monster there in season 1. A bit more on the Demogorgon, as our tulip-headed friend has a very important power that allows him to travel between universes. He has the ability to create temporary portals, which are described as wounds in the fabric of reality, and it travels through these. They are only temporary, and after a while the portals heal or disappear. These are in contrast to the gate at the lab, which is seemingly permanent, and rather than the dimensional wound healing, it is growing larger. And it is by using these portals that the monster is able to transport to our world and collect people and animals for the purpose of harvesting them, most likely for their energy. While we only see the monster create portals throughout the season, it does seem that Eleven was able to harness enough energy to be able to be capable of producing portals herself, whether intentionally or not when she destroys the monster in the season 1 finale. The monster is disintegrated, its glowing innards fade to darkness, and Eleven disappears, and it's presumed that she transported to the Upside Down. But I have to stop myself from talking too much further about what happened to Eleven, as I will be looking more at her in detail in a separate video. I think that's a pretty good guide to understanding everything we learned about the Upside Down in season 1. Now on to where we leave things off going into season 2. The monster is gone, the gate is still open, and Hawkins National continues to operate. I think the biggest impact for a variety of stories, including the Upside Down, is that season 2 is 1 year after season 1. We saw how rapidly the gate was growing in size, and that was over the course of approximately a week. It's insane to consider how much it would have grown in a year. It seems that the backbone of season 2 will be about how the Upside Down is entering further into our world and how it impacts our universe. As mentioned in the beginning of the video, we'll be seeing a lot more of the Upside Down next season. I think that this will be through the continued exploration of the universe by Hawkins. But now that Brenner is gone, new character Dr. Owens will be stepping in as the new head of Hawkins. Owens comes in to take command, and Hawkins continues their research into the Upside Down. Though I think that Owens will actually be working for the benefit of everyone and not selfishly like Brenner. To me, it makes sense for Owens to wind up being good in the end, as we expect him to be bad so much. This would tie back into the Steve character from season 1, who turns the expected asshole trope on its head. So by the time season 2 picks up, Owens will realize that they have to stop the growth and find a way to close the gate permanently. Not just to save the town, but our entire universe. So now more than ever, it is important for them to learn its mysteries, and without the monster around, they will be able to explore the Upside Down without incident, maybe under the guise of searching for the missing Brenner. So they would be able to learn a lot more in detail about the properties of the dimension beyond what we know currently. Though I do believe the area would be clear of threats immediately after season 1, that won't last. I mean, we do see someone in a hazmat suit wielding a flamethrower, so that's gotta be for something. We know that flames work well against the monsters seen with Jonathan and Nancy, but it's also possible that they are using the flamethrower to destroy the tendrils around the gate in an attempt to keep the growth contained. I continue to strongly believe that what the Demogorgon and the Upside Down itself is in search of is energy. That's what they want from our universe. Their universe is nearly devoid of energy, and that is why the monster was taking people back from our universe to the Upside Down and incubating them, inserting those tendrils down their throat in order to harvest their energy, feeding it to the Upside Down itself. While Will was saved, several were not, like the scientist in the very beginning of the show, the Hawkins employee that goes in. We also do see skulls around the library, so obviously others didn't make it out. In essence, the Upside Down was able to harvest at least these people's energy, and as a result of new energy being put back into the Upside Down, it would be able to regrow from the decayed state of how we've seen it so far. And that's what leads to the development of new life in the Upside Down. Tying back to what I was mentioning earlier, the Demogorgon was the only creature alive in season 1, but maybe a long time ago, the Upside Down had its own species, which now we will see the rebirth of. We know that Dustin gets a creature for a pet next season, leading us to believe that there are other not openly predatory creatures creatures in the Upside Down. And so this new species could be non-hostile. Then of course there's the other new monster we know about, that giant spidery guy, and he definitely doesn't look friendly. So maybe this and other creatures will be uncovered during the exploration of the Upside Down by Hawkins. Taking into account that the plant growth seems connected to the Upside Down and is in fact biological, I considered that life is created there in a similar way to plants. So those spores in the air fall from the sky, pollinating the newly energized ground, and this leads to new life occurring, eventually growing into eggs that hatch the new creatures. And so this influx of new energy into the Upside Down would lead to it being revived in a sense. But of course the Dimension's hunger for energy will only grow. So the main thrust of season 2 will be to stop the infection of the Upside Down into Hawkins, where they want to drain the universe's energy, turning it into a desolate wasteland like we see what has become of the Upside Down. And in order to stop it, they're gonna have to find a way to close the gate. I think there's only one person capable of pulling this off, 11. We know her powers have grown way beyond where they started in season 1, and she was able to destroy the monster in the finale. But now she's trapped in the Upside Down as her battery is drained, and there is no energy in the Upside Down to refuel her. It will be up to Hopper to track her down and get her back to Hawkins in order to save it. But all that is entirely just speculation, of course. So what role do you guys think the Upside Down will play next season? Are you excited we're going to see a bunch more of it? And do you think there's only one alternate dimension, or are there infinite? Also, if you have any other lingering questions on anything Stranger Things, send them my way. I'm going to start doing a Q&A at the end of the videos where I'll pick a few questions each time and do my best to answer them. Alright, that'll do it for this time, but don't worry guys, I'll be back with more Stranger Things videos before you know it. Thanks for watching Found Flicks, see you next time.